I can't talk to broke boys. I can't talk to broke boys. Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast we talk all about dating and relationships in this modern day. If you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications if you're watching on YouTube, and leave a rating, 5 stars only, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps get the word out. So with that being said, let's hop into the video. I have so much to say on this topic. You guys are not even ready for what I got to say. We're talking about money today. Money talk, money talk, money talk, money talk. Is that a song? Did I just make that up? I feel like I could low-key be a rapper. We're talking about money today, you guys. And what I wanted to say to preface all of this is that I am not shaming or anything of that nature for having money or not having money. It is what it is. We've all struggled at one point, I'm sure, most of us anyway. And if you haven't, congrats. Life has been easy, I'm sure. You have different problems. We all have different problems. It is what it is. Anyway, we're talking about money today and dating with money. Honesty time. I have dated plenty of broke men in my day. My friends know this. You know, they make fun of me for it. But like the fact that they're broke really isn't the problem for me. Like that doesn't bother me. By broke, I mean like can barely afford their own life, let alone being in a relationship. However, the fact that they're broke doesn't bother me. The fact that men complain about women not sticking around when they don't have money or women using them for their money. Let's throw that idea out the door. Men don't realize how they act when they don't have money. This is like an epidemic here because being around these men that don't have money, they are the most unfulfilled, unsatisfied, miserable type of men to be around. And look, I get how stressful it is. It's tough, okay? It's tough not having money. And I'm not bashing anyone. We've all been there. We've all been in a position where we were struggling, right? But I will say men that don't have money don't know how to act in relationships. Until a man is completely secure in who he is as a man and how much money he makes, he's never going to put a relationship as the main focus in his life. Men tend to associate their worth in a relationship with money. So when they don't have money, they're not pleasant people to be around. This is the last thing on their mind. And I'm all for like a good budget date. Like I don't care. I'm more concerned about spending time with you. However, that's the last thing on their mind. They're not planning these things because the top of their mind is how they're going to provide for, first of all, their own lifestyle, let alone your lifestyle. You're not even on their mind at that point. I had a therapist probably about like a year or so ago, and I was working with her for a while, and time after time we would meet, and I would tell her about the guys that I was dating, and they were all like really broke. And she kind of called me out at a certain point because it had been a strand of guys that I had talked to consistently who did not have money, who didn't have like even a car to get around in, just like the bare necessities, really bad. After these strand of guys, I had went on a couple dates with this guy who was like a millionaire. And it was so uncomfortable for me because at the time I was extremely intimidated by men who were powerful and had money. And I don't know why this intimidated me so much. I made it a point after the fact to go on dates with rich guys specifically to get rid of that fear. Not for the sake of like, oh, maybe I'll end up with this guy. Well, you know, potentially, obviously. But really for the sake of like, I have to get rid of this fear of dating up. And she called me out about it. She was like, this is really good. Like, remember the last one? Like, he didn't have a car. You're doing really good. I'm like, okay, great. What I realized though is like I was dating all these guys who were broke because to me, subconsciously, I was thinking of them as a project. I was thinking of I'm dating down, so I have absolutely nothing to lose. And if we never talk to each other again, I have the winning hand because I'm doing much better in life than they are. And, you know, I'm not losing anything, but I have that power and control over them. And I also subconsciously want to fix them, which was always a problem that I had in the past, is wanting to fix the men that I'm with. So that was part of, the issue there. And I do think that that is a problem with like girls that are attracted to broke guys, is there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to think about, why are you with them? Like, are you with them because you actually truly, genuinely love them? Or do you feel like you have to fix them or build them up in a way? Or do you have this power control over them that you feel so much better about yourself because you're doing better than they are? So that's something that I really had to think about. I don't necessarily think that that is altering my dating life nowadays, but in the past it was such a big theme. If you continuously choose to date broke guys that are doing worse in life than you are, maybe that's something to look at. Here's the thing. I have no problem being with a guy during his building phases of life, but he has to have actual set goals. Women, we always tend to date off of like potential, right? But men don't do that. Men do not date off of potential. So the fact that I'm willing to put my energy towards you, you better be actually working towards something and have set goals of your own that you want to accomplish. Otherwise, it's a dub. I'm not investing my time and energy in you if I don't see you actually succeeding in life. And that's just the real truth. I really think that that's fair to say because I have my own life, my own things going on, my own goals, things that I'm working towards. As an equal, at the very minimum, I would want you to also be working towards your own goals and dreams and whatever. I always say this story, although it was like they were younger, so like I think I was a lot more willing to do this in my younger 20s as opposed to my later 20s, but I always give this story about how my sister and her husband met. They were working together when they were in college, and she is such a ride or die. My mom only bred ride or die bitches. She wanted to be a teacher. She became a teacher, and he proposed to her and went to law school. He wasn't working at all, so they were specifically living off of her teacher salary. And what she got out of that, now she is a stay-at-home mom. She is completely set in life, because she invested in her man, built him up, let him do his thing, and now she's set. However, the thing that tends to happen in a lot of these cases is a woman would stay with a man during his building phases, and then once he makes it, once he becomes successful, and this is when his true colors will show, is he going to stay with that girl that built him up, or is he going to leave her now that he's successful or has overcome a certain status for the younger, hotter model that was never in his price range before? Something to think about. This is an actual fear that like could really happen. I'm willing to build with you, and years down the line you leave me for a younger, hotter bitch. Like, fuck you. I want all my time, money, and energy invested back in me at the very minimum. I genuinely feel like you should not be dating at all if you're broke. If you really are struggling to live, you should not have any type of focus at all on dating. Because here's what happens. This really goes both ways with a man and a woman. If you are completely broke, then maybe you need to be focusing on yourself and building yourself. However, I do think that women have a lot more leeway when it comes to finances, we're being honest, because that's not where our value is held. And I feel like a lot of independent women are like, oh my God, why is he leaving me for this girl who works at some random little store when I'm the prettiest, most successful bitch out here? It's like, that's not where our worth is valued. We tend to, our society now, as women, I feel like we've tend to put our value the same as men. That's just not the case. Men, they want to feel your feminine energy. They want you to cheer them on. They want you to be there for them. They want you to be that emotional piece to their life that they're lacking. They have to have that polar opposites. So if you're not bringing that, and all that you think that you offer is, I mean, obviously looks too, but your looks, your success and whatnot, most men are going to be intimidated by that. And if he doesn't want to step up and become the better version of himself, he's going to date down in that aspect. A lot of women who are super independent, right, and successful, they have a lot less options when it comes to dating, unfortunately. Back to not dating when you're broke. And this goes both ways. I really will say that. As a woman who is doing well for herself, what up? I would never want to date someone who is like really, really struggling, just because I don't want to have to compromise my lifestyle to have to like really put you as a project and build you up. I'm going to end up resenting you completely if I feel like we can't do the things that I want to do, if we can't go travel, if we can't go out to eat. We don't have to go out to eat all the time, we don't have to travel all the time, but if we can't do those things that I'm currently doing now, it's really going to bother me, because what's going to end up happening, and because I tend to overgive, is that I'm going to end up paying for the things that I want to do, and I will not like you at the end of the day. That's why on that aspect, a man dating broke with someone who has her life together is just never going to work out. On the opposite side, a woman dating who is broke and like really struggling to make her way. I've seen so many of my friends fall into this category where she will depend so much on a man that she gets herself into really, really, really negative, abusive, very much red flag situation where she can't get out of that role because she is solely dependent on that man. And I hate to see it, but I would never want to be in this position where I was solely dependent on what a man can provide to me, to where I can't get out of the situation. I feel stuck and I have to try to figure my whole life out at that point. I really feel like you should be stable enough to where you can have your own life and then start dating. I think that's the healthiest way that you could do it. I'm not saying that people who are broke don't deserve love, because of course that's going to find its way to some, obviously, but this is one of the leading causes of divorce is finances. So get your shit in check, hop into a relationship. Because I thought, okay, I don't know if you've seen Love is Blind, but I'm gonna go there. If you guys have seen Love is Blind, this new season 3, with Raven and SK, there was a conversation. Obviously, she's doing well for herself financially, and SK was going to school to, I think, get his master's, and he wanted to live life as a student. She had her own life, she had her own job, she was working very hard, and she said to him that she didn't want to compromise her lifestyle. And I saw so many TikToks go viral about like, why wouldn't you compromise for your man? But personally, I don't want to have to downgrade my lifestyle in order to have someone fit in it. Like that sucks. Like that doesn't sound like the life that I want to live. I'm willing to compromise on some things, but having to cut out a lot of things would really make me end up resenting him. And I completely get what she's saying. I think more people need to understand that you have needs and wants, and if that other person can't live up to what your needs and wants are, I don't think that you should settle. Love that she said that, and I love that she was sticking true to who she is and what she wants. But that is it for this week's episode. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Again, if you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe and leave your rating. I love you forever. If you want to be negative, whatever, you're going to get negative back. Give love and you'll get love back. Remember that. Life is a feeling process.